Should you buy a house in Oakville right now or wait? You may be thinking about this if you're somebody who's looking to move into Oakville. This is a timeless question. People always ask, is now a right time to buy or should you wait longer? We're in a buyer's market right now at the time of recording this. We're in the summer of 2026. So, whenever we're in a down market, a buyer's market, especially first time home buyers, become confused with regards to what to do. What should they do? First time home buyers seek out information in order to help them make the best decision possible. People don't want to make a mistake. That's what I've noticed, throughout my entire real estate career. If you're new here, my name is Neil. I'm a real estate broker for 20 years. I help people buy and sell real estate. I live and work in Oakville. I've been here since 1987, so I've been here a long period of time. I've seen a lot, I know a lot, so I'm going to break this question down for you today. So you could be somebody who's watching this video and honestly are wondering, like, should you buy in Oakville now or should you wait? Will the market go down further? What about interest rates? The economy, the tariffs, Trump. There's all this confusion in the marketplace. So let's take a look and let's break it down, right? You ultimately got to do what's best for you in your particular situation, but let's take a look at the reality as we get into this video. So from an interest rate perspective, right? Let's take a look at Rate Hub. So Rate Hub, you've probably come across this before. It's one of the most popular, mortgage calculators and kind of online, websites with regards to available rates. So when we take a look at, what Rate Hub is saying, today's best mortgage rates are 4.04 for a 5-year fixed and all the way to 3.4 for a 5-year variable, which definitely is accurate. So let's go with the more quote unquote conservative decision. Let's go with a 5-year fix at 4.04. The rationale for that, it's fixed for 5 years. And there's no risk of the interest rate increasing with Bank of Canada increasing the rates. So let's assume a 4.04 is the interest rate. So when we look at 4.04, that's a fairly decent rate, right? When we look at the overall historic interest rates, whether it's variable or fixed. So it's not an astronomical rate at all. Rather, it's a very reasonable rate. And even if you go into 2-year and 3-year options right now, you're even below 4%. So having a fixed rate mortgage for a 2-year term, a 3-year term below 4%, that's pretty good. I just renewed my mortgage with like a big 5 bank, and I renewed it 3-year. I think it was 3.95, which I just renewed it, and we're in August of 2026 right now. So rates are good right now, right? Relative to how they have been historically. And when you look at the risk component of, a variable versus fixed, in order to mitigate your risk, you go for a fixed rate, right? That's just kind of how the reality is in the market is right now in 2026 for first time home buyers. So if we take a look at inventory, right? What does inventory look like in Oakville? And should you wait or should you buy? So it's no secret that if you are somebody who has been searching for a property in Oakville, you may have noticed that there's tons of inventory, right? And if you're looking for a townhome, a detached, a semi, I don't know what you're looking for, but let's take a look at townhomes, for example, right? So we're just going to do just a quick little search here for townhomes, and we're going to max it out at $1 million, right, for the townhomes, because we don't want to go higher than that. So let's just take a quick peek to see what we get for townhomes in Oakville for under $1 million. Okay, so there's 60 options. So if you're looking for a townhome in Oakville under $1 million, you have 60 options, right? So let's even drill it down a little bit further. Let's look just at 3-bedroom townhomes, right? If we look at 3 bedroom and over, maybe not over, we're looking just at 3 bedrooms. Let me see. Yeah, let's look at 3 and 4. Okay, so 53 results. So there's still quite a few results, right? And over here, these are where all the townhomes are situated over here. So that's a lot to kind of sift through, right? So then when we look at, okay, do you drill it down even further? Should you buy now or should you wait? Is there too much inventory? Is it too confusing? Well, if you just drill it down further, and if you drill it down based on what you're looking for, it doesn't become that difficult. So like, for example, let's drill it down to a couple of communities. So where I'm getting a lot of questions from people, if we take a look at let's take a look at Westmount, and let's take a look at West Oak Trails. So if we look at those two communities, there are 19 results. So 19 results of townhomes up to $1 million with either 3 or 4 bedrooms. So that's not a ton. That's not super overwhelming, right? So from a inventory point of view, right? Whenever you kind of peel back the onion, right, and whenever you kind of drill down on data, that's what makes things more kind of manageable, right? Because we're in a market now where it's a buyer's market. There's a lot of headlines. You don't know what to believe. You don't know what to think. But when we look at the data, right, and when we break it down, it becomes manageable, right? This information. So we know that, okay, if should you buy now or should you wait? So we're looking at Oakville, and we've just drilled it down to two communities which are popular: West Oak Trails and Westmount. West Oak Trails and Westmount are kind of in the, let's call it, the northwest quadrant of Oakville, south of Dundas. And that's what you can see right here, right? And these are where the townhouses are situated. And these are 3 and 4 bedroom townhomes. So let's drill it down even further, right? Let's say, okay, you know what? We don't want to go above, we don't want to go above 900K. So if we cut it down, there are 8 townhomes. That's not overwhelming at all, to look at 8 townhomes. And we've got, it looks like 3 over here, a few over here, and then some over here. So we've got a bunch in West Oak Trails, and then we've got some in Westmount over here. So there's 8 townhomes. Again, that's not overwhelming, right? And the lower price point is 848, and on the high end is 900K, right? So I would say overall, like, theoretically, if you're somebody who's looking to buy or wait, and if inventory is overwhelming, right? Because that's the second point here. When you really drill down the numbers and you drill down the data, right, and you have somebody who's able to help you drill this down, it becomes very manageable, right? As opposed to kind of sifting through lots of listings and not knowing what to look at. But see how quickly I just did this here? We just drilled down 3 and 4 bedrooms up to 900K in Westmount and West Oak Trails, right? There you go. Boom, done. Now, let's say you're like, okay, forget it. I don't want these neighborhoods. I want a townhome, and I want it in, let's say, Bronte. Okay, so let's take a look. And remember, the general kind of like topic of this video is, should you buy or wait? And we're looking at inventory, right? Is there too much inventory? Well, we've just seen from just doing our quick little searches here is that, yeah, there can be a lot of inventory, but it's so easy to kind of sift through this inventory and make it so that it's more manageable. So let's just do Bronte again. Let's do townhomes. Let's see what we find here. If we take a look at townhomes, let's do price up to Bronte's higher price. So let's see what we get. Let's go 1.2. Okay, and then let's go with that there. Boom. Okay, 2 search results. So this is not a lot of data to get overwhelmed with, right? If you're looking at Bronte, and if you're looking for a townhome, and if you're looking, I put up to 1.2 million, right? This is not overwhelming. There are 2 options: Creek Path right here, and then we've got Marine Drive. We've got one for 1,049,000 and we've got one for 1.2 million here. So again, should you buy or should you wait? If inventory is something that is overwhelming you, you can see it's very easy to drill down on this data very easily. So there are 2 townhomes there. Very, very simple. Competition, right? This is a big one. So let's look at these townhomes for this topic as well. So right now, this one is 19 days on market. Are they holding offers? Offers anytime. So you're not in a multiple bid situation for this townhome in Bronte. And Bronte tends to be currently right now like a popular neighborhood in Oakville that people want to move to. Let's take a look at this townhome here, 2303 Marine Drive. This one is pretty close to the lake. Okay, taking a look at the pictures, and let's take a look at offer instructions. Offers being accepted anytime. So there you go. So offers are not being held. This is 1.2. This is on the market for 1 day, so it just looks like it came on or back on. So in terms of competition, you're not fighting with people to bid on homes, right? When it's a seller's market, you're fighting with people in order to put a bid on a home. But in a buyer's market, you can see that you have the ability to look at listings, to take your time, to make an educated and informed decision and not feel pressured. Do homes go quickly in a buyer's market? Yes, they do. Homes that are exceptional, show well, priced well, those go fairly quickly, right? But very different in a buyer's market where you have more time generally to look through listings and make a educated decision. Prices, okay? So this is a big one. Should you buy now in Oakville or should you wait? As I mentioned, 20-year real estate broker I am. I help people buy and sell in Oakville. I live in this community. I've seen a lot in my day, and I have seen prices come down to a point on certain property types where I haven't seen that in years. And to show you an example, I want to take a look at overall townhomes. So let's clear this field because I was showing a client this previously, and I want to kind of show you what I'm talking about, like where prices have gone and how I haven't seen it, at this kind of like level in many years. So let's take a quick peek here. So we've got townhomes. We are going to search it up to 1 million. Okay, let's take a quick peek there. Up to 1 million, and let's make sure we're selected Oakville. Okay, so let's take a look at this one here for as an example. So these are all the townhomes in Oakville up to $1 million. 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, $697,000. This is on Dewridge Avenue. Dewridge is located in Bronte Creek. Again, this is a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom townhome. Price to sell, they are not holding offers. So this is a deal. Like, this is incredible. This price is listed below 700,000, and they're not holding offers. So what they're expecting is list price or under, right? And this is for a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom townhome in Oakville. I know oftentimes people look for 3-bedroom townhomes, which totally makes sense. But in terms of an actual deal in a good neighborhood, Bronte Creek, and again, if you're not familiar, Bronte Creek kind of is on the border of Oakville and Burlington in kind of like the northwest quadrant, south of Dundas. So great neighborhood, good street, good property, good schools, 697,000. So coming back to the question, should somebody buy or should they wait with regards to prices, with regards to like my viewpoint on this, being a real estate broker for 20 plus years, and being in Oakville for since 1987, so a long time. This is a fantastic deal. Why somebody hasn't bought it at 6 days on market, this should be sold, right? But it comes back to what I was talking about earlier, right? When we're in a buyer's market, you have a lot of buyers that are unsure, right? They're lots of first-time home buyers. They're not that they're undecided, to agree they're undecided, but they're unsure, right? Like they don't want to make a mistake, right? They don't want to get burnt, and they just need the proper guidance, the right people to kind of mentor them and help guide them towards making a decision, that's best for them, you know, and that's what I'm personally seeing on the ground. So I would say, the camp is about, let's call it 50-50, right? Like 100% there are people buying right now in Oakville, first time home buyers. If we just talk about that category, where they're ready to buy, they're ready, to stop renting. They're ready to move from wherever they're coming into Oakville, right? Whether they're coming from, Brampton, Mississauga, Toronto, wherever it is, they're ready to make that move and they're doing it. Timing wise, they may be doing it, before the school year starts. So that's what I'm seeing on the ground. But with that as well, I see people who are kind of in a holding pattern and are afraid to pull the trigger and that are not buying. But I always see that, right? That's the thing that never changes with regards to the real estate market. There's always people who pull the trigger and make a decision and buy. And there's always people who sit on the sidelines and say, I'm just going to wait. Prices are going to go down. And just insert any other kind of like excuse in there. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful manner, but I mean it just based on what I've seen throughout my entire career. There's some people that will take the action and some people that won't. So I'm seeing kind of both camps with people taking action and people that are not taking action. So what would I do if it was my money? Would I buy now or would I wait? I think that if it was my money, I would buy now if it made sense for me personally and financially. If it made sense to make the move and to move into Oakville, I would do it. If it made sense financially and personally. If it strained me personally or financially, if I was taking on too much of a mortgage, if it was stretching me too much, I wouldn't do it. If there were personal circumstances that that I was just kind of in conflict with, I would not do it. So I think that for you as you navigate things, should you do it? You should do it if it makes sense for you, both personally and financially. So there you have it. Here's a breakdown of should you buy in Oakville or should you wait? I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out anytime. I'm more than happy to answer your question. We'll see you in the next video. Take care.